You're thinking about selling your home and you want to make sure that you can get top dollar. And so you're asking yourself, when is the best time to sell my home in Beverly Hills? Let me tell you. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. This is Erik Brown, your local Beverly Hills real estate agent, sharing with you the best of LA, where we go through the sights and sounds and all things Beverly Hills, particularly as it relates to buying, selling, or investing in a home here. Now, as I have oftentimes mentioned, we get dozens of phone calls and emails and text messages from people that have questions about the area, and they're looking to move in or they're looking at selling, and they have big questions of things that we want to go over, particularly because they're making a really big decision, oftentimes 7, 8, sometimes even 9-figure decisions. And so I would love for you to be able to touch base with us if you do have questions. And if you know someone else, please have them do the same. And I'd love for you to stay in touch with all of these videos. So feel free to hit that like button or hit subscribe and make sure that you're getting all of the recent updated notifications, because we'd love to keep you in the know. Now, the interesting part for me is I'm not originally from Los Angeles. I'm a transplant myself. And so coming into Beverly Hills and knowing the difference between Rodeo Drive and Wilshire Boulevard is huge. And so having someone that can walk you through those differences, particularly with the nuances of buying or selling a property, differences of neighborhood, difference of property values, difference of negotiation, know that my team is here to help. There is no selling, there is no pressure, just here as a resource for you. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we wanted to tap in today and find out when is the best time of year to be able to sell a property. So let's jump into it. For a first point, I always love to share or understand when is market time. What does market time look like? So what I mean by that is how long is a home typically on market? And that might allow us to be able to position. So through 2021, the average home in Beverly Hills had been on market for about 68 days, so a little over a couple of months. The national average in 2021 was much more aggressive than that. And that might be because Beverly Hills is one of the most expensive cities in the country. Usually luxury properties will take a little bit longer, but understanding market time is something that's going to be helpful for you to be able to time your property, because this can also be a personal decision. If you know that you want to sell by December and it's on average 68 days to sell, you might be looking at positioning that property in October to start to be listed or on market for selling. Number 2 is knowing the best time of year to sell. Now, most often on a national average, it is February to April. There's a lot of it is because of seasonality and weather, and that doesn't exist as much in Beverly Hills. It's really easy. We can sell kind of whenever we want. And so you'll look at when is the bulk of activity that's done. Now, when I went back historically 10, 20 years in MLS data, it looks like 40% of the sales are still going to happen in that time frame. So now if it's not weather, why is it for people? And that's something that we will dive into as well. Not only is it great to know the best time of year, it's also great to be able to know the best month of the year. And I have found that that month in Beverly Hills is oftentimes May. Now, again, if it's not weather, what is it? For a lot of folks, it relates to school time periods. So right as folks are starting to end one school year and potentially looking at the next for their family, they want to be able to move during the summer because it's easy and they can get into the next set of schools. Now, it's not like that in every community, but Beverly Hills in Southern California follows that same ilk. On a sidebar, people like to also know when is the worst time of year to sell. And some would make the argument that it is during the holidays, that there's less buyers that are looking at the time. It's a busy time of year. It's a little harder to sell just based on activity. Like I said, there's less buyers that are looking. I will give you a quick nugget of information that if you are looking at selling during those traditionally winter months, the buyers that are looking at that time are usually pretty serious. You get a lot more window shoppers during the spring or the summer, and a lot less than you would in those months of November, December, and January. So if you're thinking about selling then, know that you can still find really serious buyers that could be looking. Now, last but not least, I also wanted to share with you what it looks like for days. When is the best day to be able to sell? Now, the best oftentimes is Thursday and the worst is Sunday. Well, why would that be? Well, Thursday gives you the position to be able to have your property marketed a bit, roll into Friday and have people start to plan their weekends. So if they want to set up showings on a Saturday or Sunday because they've had a busy work week, it's going to be easier for them to be able to go to open houses or be able to set up showings if they have an agent, or to be able to call your agent and set up showings. The worst time, as we said, is going to be Sunday. And that's oftentimes because people are just beginning their work week and it's not top of mind. So on average, the Association of Realtors says that homes last in Beverly Hills 8 days longer on market than they would as if that they were listed on a Thursday. Now, 8 days may not seem like a big deal, but I have described this in previous videos that the longer that you are on market, the lower the offers and the less offers are that you typically receive. And so you really want to minimize your market time. Usually kind of the great rules for real estate is list at a competitive price, get a lot of interest, have that interest know about each other, and then want to compete against each other with multiple offers, which drives your price up. The longer you're on market, the less likely that that is going to happen. Now, this is a good spot for me to stop and say, how is this information so far? Hopefully it's shedding some light for you to understand about the best timing for you to sell your Beverly Hills or Los Angeles home. Now, if you know of anyone else that might find this or other videos that we've shared to be helpful, I would encourage you to share this video with them. Even have them subscribe, be able to get notifications of other videos that we have that are upcoming. I'd love for you and them to be able to receive real-time information. Now let's get through our last couple of points that we have of the best time to sell your Beverly Hills property. Now, the next point I'd love to bring up isn't just around seasonality or time of year or month or week or even the best day, but it revolves around trends. So right now we are in an upward trajectory market. Now what that means is the properties continue to gain value. We have low supply and we have really high demand, even in Beverly Hills, even in luxury pricing. And a lot of that is because during a pandemic, we don't have international buyers in this marketplace, which is going to continue to drive up value when they come back. So as Hollywood has come back, as California economics are great, and as we're in a place that has such great weather, we don't have the same seasonality that other places do. And in an upward trending market where we continue to have a whole bunch of success indicators, good employment, good weather, other marketplaces coming back, like I said, international buyers, Hollywood buyers, etc., we're going to see that if we're trending upwards, you should be able to sell faster versus if we were trending downwards. So I'll use 10, 15 years ago, the recession that we were in of 2008 to 2010, that was a downward trajectory market, meaning that it took a lot longer to be able to sell. So some people might have waited. If they thought that they were going to sell and move to greener pastures, they might have waited some time to be able to do so because we were in a downward market. Right now we're in an upward market, so it makes it really easy as a seller. Hot market makes it that much easier for you. The next big bullet point I love to bring up is how long it takes to sell. Now, we talked about in 2021, the average market time in Beverly Hills was 68 days. A lot of that, though, is dependent upon you, which gives you a whole lot of control, which is great. So if you want to have lower market time and thus increase typically the price point of your offers in Beverly Hills for your home sale, you're going to want to do things to prepare your home to show in its best possible light. So imagine if you have home A and home B off of Cannon Drive, and that particular property A is professionally cleaned and landscaped and painted and staged versus property B that has none of those things. I guarantee property A is going to get much more attraction of buyers, much more interest and probably higher offers than offer B will, unless offer or property B decides to list really, really low in their price. And it's kind of like the idea of with cars. If you've got two cars that are identical, they're same year and same mileage on them, but one of them is professionally cleaned and detailed and the other one just drove through the mud and has a flat tire, this car is going to do a lot better than this car. Some of it is perception. Buyers just assume that if you've got a property that is in really rough condition, that there must be something additionally wrong from it or with it. What else is the seller hiding from me? Versus a property that is immaculate and looks fantastic, it's obviously been well cared for, and so all of the other things that could potentially be concerns are not going to be for that buyer. So know that you have the control over timing on market. Now, last but not least, I know I said that once before, but absolutely last but not least, a big point that I want to bring up is as far as timing, when the best timing is to sell your property is going to be based on you and based on emotional, personal, or financial decisions. So if you've owned the home and you have an emotional connection, you've raised a family there, or it is a home that was owned by a family member, or you've had so many memories that are in that property, there's a number of different issues. It might be a little bit harder to be able to let go, and so timing that and preparing yourself for it can be helpful. Knowing different market trends and how much you want to maximize return versus just personal enjoyment of the property. You may be looking at a variety of personal things that can affect the way you want to sell. If you're going to retire soon and thinking about downsizing, if you've got family members that are moving out of the house or into the house, that can affect your ability and desire to want to sell. And of course, the financial concern generally in real estate, we continue to trend upwards, but you never know if we're going to have another recession. Nobody can time that. So trying to understand up markets and down markets can also be helpful. But factoring in all of those personal decisions are kind of the final point that I love to bring up for you to be able to factor in the best time to sell your home. Now, these are the big reasons that I wanted to share with you so you can think about timing if you ever consider selling, be it in the next week, the next month, or the next year. You might now have some insights to be able to best position yourself. And as always, it's nice to be able to talk to a pro. So if you've got questions or ideas that you want to bounce off of, as I said before, no selling, no pressure. You can touch base with us anytime. There's piles of people that want to connect with us and have questions, and we're here to help. So you can always shoot us an email, give us a phone call, or visit our website. Know we are one click away from helping you with your dream home goals. We'd love to be a resource. So this is Erik Brown in Beverly Hills signing off, and hope to connect with you soon. Bye-bye.